Picture a vast stone hall, complete silence. A single figure stands at the center, raising one hand. With that gesture, an army marches to war. Now picture the exact opposite. A deafening, crowded assembly hall. Dozens of clan leaders shouting over each other, fiercely arguing over who pays what in taxes and how the law should be written. These two vastly different scenes unfolded simultaneously across the Indian subcontinent, born from the same massive societal shift. For nearly 1,000 years, populations here lived in simple, scattered rural villages. Then, around the first millennium BCE, the population exploded. People crowded into massive, fortified cities called mahajanapadas. Historians call this the second urbanization. When thousands of people suddenly live densely packed behind city walls, the old village rules break down. You get a terrifying vacuum of order. Someone has to figure out how to manage the new scale. This explosive growth forced ancient Indian society to invent entirely new systems of control. They came up with two opposing ways to rule, which led to vastly different ways to live. The first solution to managing these massive populations was the monarchy. States like Magadha and Kosala concentrated all authority at the very top. The ruler held absolute control over the treasury, the courts, and the military, passing that power directly to their children. To project that kind of centralized royal authority over a huge population requires immense physical scale and wealth. Right next door, states like VII and Malla chose an opposing solution, early republics known as Ganasangas. Power here bypassed royal bloodlines entirely. Instead, the heads of major clans gathered in large assemblies, called the Sabha and Samiti, to openly debate and vote on state policies. While this system relied on debate and consensus, it was strictly exclusive. Women and commoners were entirely walled off from the political process, leaving major decisions to a small, elite inner circle of clan heads. Magadha consolidated power into a single fist to maintain control. VII distributed it among an elite council. Two opposing political technologies, both designed to solve the exact same problem of urban expansion. But solving how to rule a massive city is only half the equation. You also have to figure out how people will live together. Early on, society used the Varna system, a flexible way to organize people based purely on their skills, whether they were scholars, warriors, merchants, or laborers. That flexibility disappeared when a technological shock hit the subcontinent, the widespread adoption of iron metallurgy. With heavy iron tools, farmers could suddenly clear dense forests and till hard soil. Crop yields skyrocketed, creating massive food surpluses. Because society produced enough food to feed everyone, not everyone had to farm. People could dedicate their entire lives to mastering a single craft, becoming highly skilled weavers, potters, or blacksmiths. These specialized crafts became incredibly lucrative. To protect their trade secrets and their newfound wealth from outsiders, families formed exclusive, tight-knit professional guilds. This was the birth of the jati system. Over time, these protective guilds hardened into rigid, birth-based categories. You could no longer choose your trade based on your talent. Your community dictated your destiny. The immense economic boom of the second urbanization killed social mobility. As wealth grew, what a person did was entirely replaced by who a person was born as. The staggering scale of these new mahajanapadas demanded an ultra-organized, highly predictable society just to keep the state from collapsing. This was an era of vast, expanding trade networks. To keep up, society abandoned the old barter system to invent standardized currency. To sustain a booming economy and build massive walls, the state required a guaranteed, uninterrupted flow of specialized goods and labor. For a growing state, birth-based rigidity offered the ultimate predictability. By locking professions to bloodlines, a king or a council ensured that the next generation of weaponsmiths and tax-paying merchants was already secured, preventing the labor shortages that would otherwise destabilize a massive city. This era's ultimate legacy was a lock-in effect. What began as a tool for economic protection became a permanent social grid, where the state's need for reliability meant a person's potential was capped by their lineage. When we look past the ancient history, we see a repeating pattern of human behavior. When resources and populations scale up rapidly, societies often sacrifice flexibility for control. 2,500 years ago, economic pressure forced society to build rigid boxes for its people. Look at our world today. Do we truly judge people by the skills they possess, or do we still define them by the circumstances